Broadcasting live from the Business Radio X studios in Pensacola, Florida, it's time for Pensacola Business Radio. Now, here are your Business Radio X hosts.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Keith Overt here, broadcasting live from our Pensacola Business Radio studios here in, obviously, Pensacola, Florida. I have the myth, the legend, the one and only Victoria Matthews in the studio with me today, all the way from Atlanta, and then heading all the way back home to Orlando.
That is correct.
You're a brave traveler, I can tell you that. So Victoria and I have been sort of touring Pensacola a little bit here today, and really kind of working through building business and economic development and some of the other worlds and things that you live in. But for those that don't know what you do and who you are, let's just unload like the 1 minute elevator speech for us.
Oh, wow. Elevator speeches. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Keith, for having me here. And it is such a pleasure to be here. This is a beautiful, beautiful town.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've shown me a lot of things to unearth and add to like the tourism component, and learning about the new business that's growing and booming here has been really, really great. But just my background is that I have a travel concierge. We service 3 sectors of business, one being corporate travel, second being leisure, and the third being a really unique aspect, which is festival-based travel.
Which is awesome, because there are many festivals I could have used a plane ride home and not have to ride in the car or the back of the van or whatever, but yeah. So what made you think of festivals? Like, why?
Oh my goodness. So the concept and me actually doing travel logistics has been something I've been involved with for about 20 years, actually. And so the idea came about, I knew an orthopedic surgeon who used to travel to the Tomato Throwing Festival every year in Spain. Him and a couple of buddies, they would go to Barcelona and they would book everything at the last minute. And this is the age of frummers, back when you had to go and buy a book and learn.
And actually see what was on, what was happening in what cities.
Exactly. Dog-earing the pages, highlighting and stuff like that. But in his profession, he's cutting on people. That is his job.
Right.
And so he was like, well, don't speak that much Spanish. You do, Victoria. And we've been going to this festival for several years, and we really have not gotten a chance to enjoy Spain. I said, well, you've eaten gazpacho, of course, right? And he says, no, not even that.
Wow.
So
they would just go, they would do the tomatoes, and then they would come back home?
They would literally just go to the festival, book, pay premium because they were booking everything at the last minute, and they weren't having authentic experiences because they were staying in American chains. They were trying to get as close to the festival as possible so they can enjoy it, and then they were on their way back because they had to go to work, because no one could plan what to do around the festival and the sightseeing and the logistics. It
is an art.
It is an art. You have to be pretty creative. You have to have great time management, of course, an understanding of what there is to see. And what makes me unique is that I can actually understand different people's interests and what will be a good fit for them, and put it all together so they can still work and, make their daytime money. But then when they go and invest their money, because travel is an investment, of course you want to go and relax and, walk in the sand, but you have to pay money to get there.
Sure.
And so for me, it was always about creating authentic experiences, and the festivals were a great way to go and see exactly what the locals were doing, because everyone's having a great time.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. I really do.
Thank you.
So how many festivals are there in the world?
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot, huh?
There are so many. I mean, and the beautiful part of it is that festivals don't have any type of, there's no low season.
Right. Right. If it's a festival, go. It's a party. They don't care when it is.
You've got the winter festivals. For example, the Snow Festival in Japan that goes on every year that brings in 4 million people.
Wow.
Right. You've got summertime festivals. You got music. You have your sports such as the Olympics, and that's all for winter and summer.
A beer fest.
Right. You got the spirits, barbecue, food. I mean, you name it, there's a festival for it. One of the things that since we're approaching summer, what you're going to see happening in the United States are the EDMs. And I mean, they have taken the festival business and paired it with that, rave, and they've created this new. It's
like out in the desert and stuff too, which I think is kind of cool.
Well, that festival that's Burning Man. That is the largest festival in the United States.
Is it really?
It is. It is.
And you too can fly. I didn't know it was the largest. I mean, I've followed it over the last couple of years and watched, because some of the art that comes out of there is just really neat.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
And, the beauty of the festivals too is that, you don't have to worry about those seasons. So you can go whenever you like, what's comfortable for you. But also the demographics. You have any age, men and women, young and old, everyone can enjoy it. And so the EDMs have, I think that they've successfully breached or kind of broken down a lot of the stereotypes of, going to a rave traditionally, because, they've got the glamping, with the air conditioned tent.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the way to go camping. I'm cool with that. When I first saw that, I thought it was a joke, but it's a huge business.
It is. And a lot of the RFID technology, with those wristbands, that has actually, I think the EDMs have attributed to the success of those and how they can be implemented and be very successful.
How we can all be chipped.
Exactly.
Well.
So yeah, festivals are fun, but right now the business is 75% corporate. So a lot of my corporate travelers who have either customers or manufacturing facilities overseas, we provide very what I call concierge services for them. We're helping them maximize their loyalty points, for example, which is a huge concern for everybody who like, wow, I'm using this travel concierge, but I really want to make sure I get my points. Well, don't worry, we take care of that too.
Yeah, because I guess if they're using you and flying different planes, they're not really catching mileage, are they?
Oh yeah, they are.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a part of the corporate concierge package. We make sure that we're maximizing the points for you. We're going to say, hey, if you have an Amex, let's go ahead and use that one. We recommend the car rental services, if they're going to rent cars, based on, maximizing the points for that trip. Another thing, a lot of my customers are runners. They're very healthy. So we'll make sure that we plan routes that are very scenic and safe near the hotel so that they won't lose their routine. And then, they're still very active.
Do you get people traveling to runs?
Yeah.
Like they do the festivals?
Yes.
Because I know we've got a couple here that people come from all over the place for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very cool. So I want to very discreetly maybe get out of Dodge. Okay. Is that something that can be facilitated?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't need to let everybody know that I'm going away for the weekend. That's the whole point of getting away,
No, if you go on most of the social media, you barely even see my face on it, and which some people complain, look, why don't you show where you are? But I do have a good gift in discretion, because I understand a lot of people don't, they just want to travel. They want it to be their experience.
Sure.
They don't feel the need to post it all over social media and things like that. And so they just want someone who's confident in the destination that can get them there, and so that they can travel and have a great experience and come back. And, if they're sharing pictures with their friends, that's one thing. But, we're not doing group travels where I have to, oh, look at me and 50 other people. No, it's your trip.
Kodak moment.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, talk to me a little bit more about the corporate piece of things, because, obviously with the way business moves and as fast as business moves today, I was thought that some of that side of the industry was dying down. I thought a lot of them were just taking the corporate airliners and all that kind of stuff. Is there still that much corporate business that goes on through the private jetting and concierge services?
Well, definitely, because talking about when I'm talking about corporate business, is more international business, which is my forte. And so one thing that we understand is that face-to-face interaction will never go away. There's only so much Skype. Yeah. There's only so much. I mean, look at me. I mean, we could have done this over the phone.
For sure. Yeah.
But it's nothing like being in the same room and you're talking to somebody when you're trying to negotiate, and in most cases, problem solve.
Right.
You need to be face to face.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the overseas business development, there is at some point, you can't keep avoiding going overseas. And so being able to guide and coach and do pre-departure orientations and, let them know this is what you can and will expect is very helpful for my corporate clients.
I would think so. I mean, you got enough on your plate having to go to a different country, probably speak a different language, right? And then having to deal with the business at hand, let alone all those little things that you forget, like where's the customs card that I just had that I lost 2 minutes ago? Where's, and do I really want the chicken or the, the spaghetti or all the things that can go wrong on an international flight?
Right.
Right. So how did you realize that this was a need that needed to be met?
Well, I would say not a process of elimination, but, just in my own personal travels, I used to travel all over the globe. I speak 5 languages, so I would go to places so I could practice and experience and explore. And who knew collectively that I was gathering all of this data? And so because, I was there to explore, I would meet business people, I would meet locals, I would meet business people from that country,
right,
and just hear the pains. We're over here, and we thought it was going to be like this,
right.
And so just collectively listening, and being pretty versed in a variety of industries. My background is in security printing, so I started out as a salesperson, and so just understanding different industries and how those industries travel and what those people look like when they travel, and so just being, like I said, proactive and wanting to be more of a partner with these companies so that they can be more successful. Not that they're not successful
that
on
word.
their phone on their own, but helping them, build the courage, build the confidence, and to eliminate a lot of the problems that, if you just had a coach that could tell you and you didn't have to fumble. I mean, why not? Why not hire somebody that could help you?
So with saying that, like, what are some of the, I guess, not to do like the top 10 list, but what are some of the big mistakes or the biggest fumbles that you find yourself preventing the most for people?
International business etiquette. How to conduct yourself when you arrive. There are certain things, for example, like souvenirs, presents, that in American business culture, okay, it's nice if you showed up with a present, but in some places it's obligatory, and no one's going to tell you that. You're not going to read it in a book, and you're not going to learn it in business school. Sorry.
Why don't they teach that in business school?
It's okay. I can be your business school.
There you go. The faux pas. I believe it, because when you talked about going to Japan a lot, business in Japan is done way differently than business here in the States.
Absolutely.
Which you see it in the movies all the time, right? Their gifts don't happen until after or before. I know it's one of those things that, or even at all. I knew it's one of those, if it's not done right, it really ruins the whole process.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I can only imagine Russia or even the UK, as much as we do, English speaking, right? We speak the same language. You would think the business is the same, and it's not.
Right.
And I guess not living in an international world, I don't think about that often, but it's an everyday thing for you, huh?
Yeah. I mean, this is what I eat, sleep, and breathe.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. Constantly staying updated on not only the business, what are the viable markets, but also politics. Politics will dictate, whether or not you're going to have a successful.
Lord knows you've had a whole bunch of questions to answer over the last 6 to 8 weeks, haven't you? Yeah. Take the fifth, right? What if I'm not international? Do I still want to hone some of these skills? I mean, is there still some things that you offer that are
absolutely
stay within the borders? Or I mean, I'm guessing it could probably apply. Business etiquette is business etiquette, right? You just need to learn where to apply it.
Because again, as we are becoming more, and as America is realizing that, we are a part of this international market. We're a player on this field, and so you might not be going to that foreign country yourself, depending on what your position is,
right,
but you're going to expect to let's say work with somebody from a foreign country or interact with them as a client or a customer. And so just because you're not traveling overseas doesn't mean that some of the things that I can share and impart to that company won't be beneficial, because it definitely will. And I think the most important thing is the intercultural communication. I speak foreign languages, so I'm a pretty active listener, and I think once people understand that, okay, well, I might not be proficient in a foreign language, but okay, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that if you're, talking with your hands, or if you're listening with your eyes closed, and I'm not boring you, that's just something that may be a trait, or trait from that region. And it really helps a lot. It helps to eliminate a lot of the projections that people may make that are not necessarily true.
Which usually end up turning a business deal bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Oh, and another thing I wanted to add too before we go into the next segment is that the idea of rushing. That if you're gonna go and you're gonna do business overseas, you got to be prepared. You know,
you know what, I would think that is anywhere. And the rushing thing, it kills me. Like when I would book people or people would book me for just an hour at a time when I go over, and when those things have to get stopped or you're just like, man, I'm in the flow here, you know.
Right,
it's like it's business right in front of you, and so the rushing thing is a huge no for me. Although I know sometimes it's inevitable, but
and in some places, you know, some markets, being on time is very important. I mean, Japan, Germany to start. You will miss your plane or your train or your car or whatever it is.
It's precision over there, isn't it?
It is very precise. And so time in that respect is very important. But to come over saying, oh, I'm going to nail this deal in 48 hours is very unrealistic.
Yeah. So, okay. So what am I learning what are some things that you teach me going overseas? Aside from, obviously we know some business etiquette. What about, like, where do I get food that I can eat tonight? You know, what about hotels or you know?
So in the case where the American company is traveling overseas, of course, the person who's traveling wants to be the host, so to speak, even if they're in the foreign country. So we definitely will make some recommendations for dinner or cocktails. So that way, you know, the person or the executive isn't showing up saying, well, where do we go? He already has a plan, you know, which helps with budgeting if he's writing expense and things like that. And then it just helps him stay confident. And we all know that a confident business person is really going to be very productive. And so all of those little things that kind of don't think about until you're in the situation.
Like, where am I going to eat? And I can't read the language.
Exactly. You know, and providing the menu, so you know exactly what you would like to have, you know, as a person visiting, and not depending on somebody else ordering for you, and you know, just feeling, you know, how can I say, like out of your own comfort zone.
Yeah, sure.
So we take very care and provisions in making sure that we provide that type of support as well when we're supporting our corporate clients.
Okay, so you say we. So there's obviously, it's not just you.
Yeah, it's a team. Well, you know, so the company is Gardner Matthews Travel Concierge, and people ask me all the time. So who is Gardner? Who is Gardner? The company was named after my paternal and maternal grandfathers. Okay. So I figured that if I named the company after them, I would never go wrong or regret it. Yeah. So I do pay homage to them every day. There you go. But there's a small team of us, and we work really, really hard. I have consultants that live in the country, in some countries, and so you know, to provide, you know, backup if needed. But everyone's leaving and they're very confident because we do pre-departure orientations, some small foreign language acquisition courses. I mean, we're not expecting somebody to become proficient in, let's say, Japanese in a month, but at least, you know, some familiarity with the language, and, you know, to be able to say thank you and things like that, introduce yourselves. Like I said, the corporate concierge services with loyalty management of the points, and also you know, health and fitness management. We're providing information on that as well.
So are you universal? Can you operate pretty much anywhere with anybody going any place?
There are some countries that we're more proficient in than others, but for example, most travel agencies, you know, they're just basically booking tickets and hotels, whereas we're providing experiences with the local accommodations, and we're intercontinental. So, you know, we can help support in a lot of places.
I love technology.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's so cool. So where's the next place that you get to go off to other than home?
Oh, well, I haven't planned my own personal travel, but I am looking to go to India really soon. Yeah,
that's on my bucket list.
Yes.
So where do you think so far has been the most interesting place that you have traveled?
I get asked this question all the time.
And I bet you have like a list of 10, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, for example, I've been traveling to Japan for 17 years, not 17 times, 17 years. So I have a really close relationship with that country. I have friends that
it's still never like a been there, done that kind of thing?
No.
It's a new experience every time,
Every time.
That's amazing.
Every time. I mean, though it's an island nation, but there's so much that's going on. It's, you know, 4 seasons. You've got the parks, you've got the beaches, you've got the cities, you've got the suburbs, you've got the
mountains too. Yeah.
Right. I mean, gorgeous. Love Africa. African beaches, again, in Senegal. absolutely incredible. You can fly into the city of Dakar and walk to the beach. Like, it's kind of like here. Exactly.
Minus the lions and zebras and stuff.
No, there are no lions and zebras in the cities, but just the food in Senegal is absolutely incredible.
God, see, that's where I would get lost. I'd love
my
new food and just like out of the hotels for a minute, being within the people and the cultures that live. That is home sweet home for me.
Yeah, food and surfing.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah. Yeah, incredible. Yeah,
I bet.
And the landscape is really nice. If you go inland, and then there's a pink lake. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I have heard of the pink lake.
Oh, Decrepa. It is so gorgeous. And it looks like pink Kool-Aid. Seriously. It's so amazing.
I think that'd be weird swimming in, right? Like, you'd have to stop for a second and kind of think.
Well, you can, but the lake is essentially 10 meters deep, and they extract 24 tons of salt out of that lake every year. So it's, we're familiar with it. We've heard of the Dead Sea.
Right.
It's just that
it's pink.
It's pink, and it's bigger, and it's denser with the salt.
Wow.
It's just kind of like Africa's or Senegal's not the best kept secret, because when you go there, all of the French and all of the Belgians, they're there. They're right there.
Yeah.
It's like, where did you guys come from?
So it's like, have you ever done a deprivation or a float tank?
I have not.
Oh, okay, so I haven't. I can imagine it's just like that, but it's so thick and dense with salt, you float right on top of the water.
Yeah.
So,
and then as far as South America is concerned, I love Chile, Santiago, Chile. It's amazing to me. I love the country itself. Is really skinny, and so it yields to the different dynamics of the forest and the city and mountains and Patagonia and stuff like that. So
I heard very cool climate zones.
Yes.
Very unique within the same season. I guess right.
Well,
so same time of year can have 2 or 3 different climate zones happening at the same time.
Exactly. And so it's amazing.
And they make really good wines.
Oh my God. Yeah. White wine. Yes. Paired that with the seafood over there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess the seafood would be really good, huh?
Yeah.
Right there in the Pacific, huh? I didn't even think about that.
And then one of their biggest festivals, just going back to the festival component, is that they plan for their New Year's party in where is it? Valparaiso is the name of the beach city. So when they finish on the 1st, doing the fireworks and the music and the entire city of Santiago, you can just see them, like everybody leaves and they're on that one stretch of road heading over to Valparaiso. When it finishes, they're already planning for the next New Year's.
Oh yeah.
They're planning
I can see that.
From so it's amazing.
So, wow, all these cool festivals. So there's music, there's art, there's the cultural things. There's the what's the big one in Rio de Janeiro? The Carnival, right?
Yeah.
How do I figure out which festival I want to go to? How do I figure out where to get some information for that? Like, do you have these choice ones that are really cool, and these are the times of year that they happen this time every year? Or?
Yes. So I do have a calendar. There are most of the festivals that I recommend I've personally attended, so I can talk about, so let's say, for example, someone really doesn't like crowds. I can say, you probably don't want to go to this festival or at this time. Some of the festivals happen in different locations. So Carnival, for example, we have the one in Brazil, but you have it in Trinidad and Tobago. You have it in Martinique and different Caribbean countries too. So there is a list of festivals, and I make the recommendations based on what's happening, how soon that person wants to travel, have they been to that country before, and if we can attach it to some current business or leisure travel. So usually what happens is the corporate person is traveling and they want 2 or 3 more days to kind of do sightseeing
and chill out.
Right. And so, hey, if a festival's going on, that's great. Or if they're going for leisure, we would try to tack on a festival as well.
What about some of the festivals here in the States?
There's so many. And
there is a lot.
So, for example, one thing that's coming up, I don't know if I should say this, but the South. Are we in the South?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Florida, so technically it's Florida, but yes, it's still the South.
Okay.
But you're not the only one who have asked that, by the way.
So, I'm a Southern girl. I'm from Georgia, and so barbecue is the epitome of Southern. Like when you start smelling the barbecue,
it's a good time.
summer.
Yeah.
Summer has has gotten here.
Yeah.
And so there is a huge barbecue festival that happens every May. It's called Memphis in May. And this year they're highlighting an international, or every year they highlight an international country. And this year is the Czech Republic.
Okay.
And so the first week is the Beale Street Music Festival. The second week is a tribute to the Czech Republic with food and barbecue and things like that. And the third week is the international barbecue competition. And they have 600 barbecue teams. Can you imagine?
Yes, I could.
600 barbecue teams.
That's right up my alley. Yeah, I'd get to like team 4 and be done though, you know? I mean, how much barbecue sauce can you really taste?
Well, meat and, brisket and ribs and everything. And so
I'd be exhausted.
Well,
I'm exhausted just talking about it. That's a lot. I mean, you got 3 different weeks of festivals. I mean, whew.
Exactly. So so we are planning some tours for that particular festival. We're working with the Memphis in May marketing team, and as well as the Czech Republic Embassy and our contact in Atlanta, the Honorary Consul General George Novak. And so we have different tours that we've outlined. Because as you say, it's exhausting. You're like 600 teams. Where do I start? What should I go and do and see? And we're going to actually include tasting and actually joining one of the teams and watching them, as they prepare to compete, which is, you just can't do that if you're walking.
You get the secret sauce, right? Yeah. So things like for us Americans or those that live here in the United States,
right?
These are no brainers, but I guess outside of here, it's not so much. So Mardi Gras. Right, that's a huge one.
Exactly.
South by Southwest, which happens in. That's one I've been dying to go to.
Right. The Blues Festival in Chicago.
Yeah. So Lollapaloozas and what's the Rock? It's not Rock the Range, but it's something different this year. But it's in like Ohio, like in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
No offense to Ohio, but here's one of the baddest concerts that's going to happen in 3 or 4 days. So,
and the festivals, it's a great way to showcase our culture to foreign nationals, either if they're long-term residents or if they are visiting the United States. I'm all, hey, you guys need to go and check out one of our festivals too. And it's always a good time.
Yeah.
No one's ever disappointed.
So if somebody wants to find out some more about where to go, how to get there and all that stuff, where can we send them to? So
we need to send them, they can give me a call, but my phone number is 678-995-3206.
That was brave.
Really?
That's good. No, that's good.
Yeah, call me. If you would prefer to text or send an email, send me an email to Gardner Matthews, GARDNER Matthews with 1 T, that's very important, MATHEWS @gmail.com. And just send your inquiries and we can have a conversation. I have a questionnaire that I can go through, and then we just get you on your merry way. Yeah.
So, and we'll include those links and phone number when we repost everything too when we're done with the show. So let's skip around here a little bit, because you were talking about how you've got our culture out there for people to see, and obviously the U.S. has a huge tourist industry, whether you're on the coast or just all these other things that are going on.
Yeah.
But you hit on a couple of things, and I'm leading into this because I know a little bit, but so-and-so needs to meet so-and-so or needs to meet so-and-so, or you probably run into a whole lot of people that probably need to know a whole lot of other people, don't
Absolutely. The business that I'm in, as far as business development side, I meet a lot of industry professionals, and they're looking for contacts, they're looking for vendors, of course they're looking for customers, they're looking for people to help them with problem solutions, they're looking for partnerships.
Yeah.
And so I do business matchmaking as well.
Yeah.
And so
business matchmaking, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I kept calling it connect the dots, but most people they didn't put it together yet, I don't think.
Yeah. So that is something that I've added to the portfolio, and has been very, very successful. Like I said, because of the industries that I'm working with, different type of industries, and it's not just one country. So that's another thing. I'm a travel agency. They're just going to get you on your merry way. Once you buy the ticket and you're in your hotel, there's no further development. But my company is designed to help just keep stretching it and to grow and make everything streamlined and painless. so you can focus on your core competency.
Yeah.
But if there is, I get questioned all the time, well, hey, do you know somebody in this industry, or can you help me meet this person? Or I'm pretty sure and 9 times out of 10 I do. So
makes sense. You're already kind of there.
Yep.
And it just goes to show you that even though we have all this technology, relationships are relationships, right? And it's going to work more than you could ever do on a computer.
Absolutely.
So, do you find a rush out of sort of knowing the other person needs to meet this other person?
It's funny. Most of the people don't even know who they need to meet.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have no idea that, oh, wow. And depending on the market, the country, they won't think that, oh, I need to talk to this guy over here in Germany. They have no idea.
Yeah.
So
they don't even know they exist, huh?
Have no idea.
It's amazing to me. We are so saturated, and there's so much business and so many different things going on.
There's a lot. Even
with Google, you don't know that they exist.
Well, I think when you type in Google, you can either pay for an ad and come up in the top 5, right? But there's still like thousands of pages of information.
Yeah, but if you want to be in that top 5, you can call me because I know how to fix that.
Okay. Well, call Keith for that.
Our phone number's on the website. So the matchmaking just kind of, it obviously just sort of fell together. It's one of those services that or needs that I think you don't realize you can meet until all of a sudden you're meeting it constantly,
exactly.
Right? Yeah. What do you think next with that side of the business? Where are you heading with that? Is that a strictly Victoria kind of thing? Does it take a Victoria to do that, or is that something that's scalable for you?
Definitely it takes a Victoria to do that.
Right.
And I would be the only person involved with that type of business, organizing that. But definitely, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well, whether you think, is that something that you kind of scale? I mean, do you have a whole bunch of matchmakers out there kind of helping people find the other people?
I mean, I believe there are people that are doing it in some sort, but I mean, not across different industries.
Yeah.
So, I'm talking about manufacturing, I'm talking about aerospace, I'm talking about aviation, automobile, technology, artificial intelligence, brand, virtual reality, hospitality, and tourism. I mean, Delta is a travel company, for example.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they'd like to be connected to somebody if they're opening up, let's say, a new station in another city. Well, who is the real estate person here? Because we need this done right now.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, those types of things. And so, yeah.
That's cool. So why aerotech and aerospace and virtual reality and all that? Is it just always been something that you liked, or
just start meeting a lot of people in those industries, and to be honest, they're really kind people, and I enjoy
Very
working
cool.
with them.
Okay.
And here in the state of Florida, I mean, come on, it's
sad.
kind of
There's
a
a lot of them. Yeah. And the stuff that they have is kind of cool too.
Exactly.
The toys are fun.
Exactly. You're like, what? Can I play with that?
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I guess, it's not one of those things that you learn in business school, is it?
No.
Yeah. I think I find myself talking to students who have huge university here. So we get to do some of the business talks with them and sort of the real world stuff. And Business Radio X follows a lot of that matchmaking sort of format. And I keep telling them every day, it's not. You're not going to learn this in school. It is. No. It's an inherent skill. It's something that you can pick up by watching somebody. It's just genuinely who you are. I think for a lot of those that do this, but it's just not one of those. You have a lot of skills that weren't necessarily taught in school,
right?
Which I think is pretty cool, and it makes you very unique.
And so there are those skills that exist that I wasn't taught, but a lot of things that I learned, by being in industry, by being in business, and like I said, just listening and watching other people make mistakes. I've made
your own.
I've made a couple of mistakes too. Try to minimize them as much as possible, but yeah, there, collectively, I've just been pretty blessed and very lucky, and just saying, hey, this is what I know how to do, And if you can trust me to do it, and most people do, like I said, with the discretion, people know that, okay, if I talk to Victoria, it's going to stay here.
Yeah.
And if I am making, some type of introduction, it's not crap, it's somebody that's really viable. So, okay, wow, we see value in this, and we definitely want to continue a relationship with her. And so, and it just continues to grow, and then the referrals come, and then, I get invited to come down and talk with you.
It's like, I'm telling you, it's like the coolest people, right? You get to meet. So
yes.
It sounds like you genuinely really love what you do.
I love it. I love connecting people. I love solving problems. I've always been really good with logistics, time management, and putting things together in a way that works and makes sense, because a lot of people, they're so busy trying to just figure it out.
Yeah. And juggle the plates and
right, and you have the naysayers, well, that's not, but yeah, it really can, and here's how. And you just came up with that.
There's nothing like a 30,000-foot view, right?
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
It is, because you're right. We get so deep into our own problems, we don't get to see it. So,
and so sometimes, most times, it's really important. I mean, companies hire third parties all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we think of just auditing, but sometimes it might be good to bring in a third party to help you assess. Look, we're hitting a kind of like a dead end. Mm-hmm. How can we go around it? So, doing creative brand, I do a lot of branding events and what I call sales openers and introductions, because, if you are company X and you've only been trying to sell widget, to this person, to this client.
Boy, I got a lot of widgets, trust me.
Right. Well, what about selling it this way and to these people? No one's thinking about that.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes it helps to have someone who can see around, the situation and really, really help you.
So do you have a go-to, a 30,000-foot view person for you in your business?
I have several.
Do you?
I have several.
You have an advisory council? That's what I like to call it.
About advisory council, I'm really close to a lot of people, diplomats or foreign diplomats, and people who are running or leading the industries.
Yeah.
Because I have to stay on top of.
You got a lot of changing parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I need to know, okay, so what just happened and who merged with who? And,
right.
Whoa, how is it?
Or who changed the law here in this country or this country?
Exactly.
Yeah, international business is it's hard for me to wrap my brain around sometimes. It kind of cramps up. It's like, wait a second, that's not how that goes.
It can be, but it's not impossible. I mean, we have so much information, but the problem is that sometimes you get overloaded with information,
and it's not even the right stuff, right?
Right. And so again, bringing it back, let's call Victoria. Let's get her on the phone. Let's get her in this meeting to help us, navigate and, either do a strategic plan or an outlook or an assessment. I do a lot of analysis. Like, is this really going to make sense, guys?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Because, it's like either you're going to find out after you spend the money and you cannot recoup it, and somebody's looking crazy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Somebody might be going home a little early. So I'll tell you what, one of the biggest things that has really gotten my head turning here with this is that in the entrepreneurial world that I operate in and live in and see from day to day in the building here, one of the biggest challenges for I think any business is always new customers, new customer base, new demographics, that kind of stuff, new business, because you want to have new, obviously, so you can grow and maintain and all that good stuff. But when you start thinking in the realm of, my city has a population of 200,000. I can sell to the state that has a population of 2 million. I can sell to the U.S. that has a population of whatever it is, 300, 400 million.
Right.
Or I can sell to the world at 7 billion. And that's a huge jump, right? And then, but then the possibility goes, and then my head gets big, because it's exciting.
Right.
It's scary.
It's overwhelming at times. Right.
Yeah. But sometimes you need that little push to know that it's possible.
It is possible.
It's possible. And
absolutely.
So there are people out there that can help you do this, right?
Yes.
There's tools out there. There are people out there.
There's me.
You don't, just Victoria. Only Victoria. She may be backed up for a couple of months, but she's there. But I mean, they're there. And those things always kind of show up when you need them. Right. And sometimes you just may not even know that they exist, but they do. So,
and I know earlier you were talking about, learning something in business school. And I just want, because you and I talked about the corporate, the global series that I've developed.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge way, to educate not only the industry professionals, but EDCs and different chambers, who just have questions about these new markets that aren't so popular. I mean,
with a low enough risk that you can invest in it and find out that you can't do what you wanted to do, or that you shouldn't do what you want to do, and not feel like you just threw away a whole bunch of money.
Exactly. And, just to provide some type of introductory level on, for example, what is it like to do business in Japan? I mean, is it really like the TV shows? Because some people might see that and say, absolutely not. And I'm here to say that is not true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we go across seas and they're like, is everything like the reality shows at Jersey Shore or whatever? And
and then
then my heart sinks and I'm just like, man, I'm so sorry.
Right. Like, I can't believe they're broadcasting this, but okay, whatever.
Right.
So absolutely. So the global series, there are 2 editions. There's the corporate edition that has 10 talks, and the travel edition, which also has 10 talks. And so I want to, not only target the industry professionals and people who are in international business, but also the university students that you mentioned before.
So you can learn some of this stuff in business school, huh?
You can. Yeah. You can. Because I feel like there's so many opportunities, and, without understanding, I'm majoring in business and I have this concentration in finance, but what else? Well, what does that job look like, and what other skills do I need?
Right.
I personally will say a foreign language, please learn a foreign language and become proficient at it, because there's nothing like sitting at the table and the conversation goes from translator to translator, or they're speaking English and you don't know, and then they switch into the national language. Yeah, and everyone always asks me, well, are they talking about me? Or, I wonder what they say. You shouldn't be wondering. There should be no guessing in it. And so for me, it's always been important. I don't want any interpretation on my health and my money. Sure. And I think anybody who's serious about their business, all of these CEOs and CFOs, they feel the same way. So, okay, granted, again, they themselves might not be proficient, but hire somebody on the team that is your team member that can say, hey, so-and-so, this is what just happened. So you can react to it, or at least plan. Do something about it instead of just, I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, and you just mentioned something on such a bigger level. You said health and money and somebody's perception of it, right? So when you start doing some business that is, the size of deals as opposed to just going and buying a widget, people pay attention to this kind of stuff within the companies, big, small, or whatever. And if you're not putting off the right vibe, you're done, dead in the water.
I can't tell you how many times, I've heard people say, they came over and, they had the papers in the hand. And it's like, put your contracts away.
Yeah.
Drink the tea or sit down.
Enjoy the meal.
Talk about your family and who you are and where you're from. Now is the time to exchange the culture, because they want to know, who am I doing business with? Because at that time, you are that company.
You're the face of the whole company.
You're it. And so they want to know, Keith, what do you like?
Don't get sent home early.
And just be prepared for that exchange. It's not too off from what we do. I mean, people call it a golf, business on a golf course. It's the same thing. It's just in a different setting. Yeah. Maybe an 8 or
so you don't treat it the same or you don't see it the same. So therefore, sometimes I think you may not prepare for it the same. You don't view it as the same concept, even though it is. So,
and I think some people may just I just want to hurry up and get over here and get back home, and I get it, because it's uncomfortable. It's home. You want to be in your comfort zone, but
not all of us are gypsies. I got no problem being gone from home for multiple times. I think traveling is the food for the soul, for sure, and seeing new places and cultures and businesses is where it's at. So,
and when you start looking into the art and the architecture, and and not saying that you're supposed to emerge and become that, but at least pay attention to it, and you come back and say, wow, that was a really nice place, and they were really nice people, and I made some money. So,
yeah. And the waffles are really good too. All right. So we're getting to the end of our time here. I want to thank you very, very much for coming in and entertaining us this afternoon. And I look forward to learning a lot more.
I hope it was entertainment and also some knowledge. And
yeah. And like I said, my head has really started gearing towards some of those other things that you could do outside of the community. I just started thinking bigger.
Gotcha.
And that's good. That's always good. So
well, I'm very happy.
Thank you. All right, you guys, you can find us at Picola Radio X on Twitter. You can find us at Picola BRX on Facebook, or you can find us on our website at PensacolaBusinessRadio.us. And this has been Pensacola Business Radio, where business is good and your work matters.